Welcome to Workday Payroll Worker Tax Elections. In this session, we'll explore how Workday handles tax elections and review a few country-specific considerations. We'll also learn how to add tax elections on behalf of a worker. You'll load worker tax details during deployment. But before you can do this, workers need to be assigned a company and pay group. Once tax details are set up, the ongoing management of these details varies by country. For example, workers in the US and Canada can maintain their own federal and state or provincial tax withholding elections through the self-service withholding elections page. For workers in countries like the UK and France, the government assigns the majority of tax details, so there are limited self-service options for workers. However, in some cases, you can update tax details on behalf of workers in bulk. For example, in the UK, tasks are available to uplift and clear down tax codes for groups of workers. If a worker has no tax elections when payroll calculates, Workday uses defaults set by the government of that country as of the payment date. Although there are several reports and tasks to assist you with auditing and maintaining worker tax setup, a few you may often use include View workers with missing U.S. tax elections. This report lists workers in a company who are missing federal or state tax elections at the end of the selected period. Copy tax elections for workers. This task copies the tax elections for workers from one company to another for events like acquisitions. And workers by employee contingent worker type. This report lists primary home and work addresses for workers, which are necessary for tax calculations in Canada and the US. Once specific tax withholding criteria are met for both the company and the worker, you can enter tax elections on behalf of workers based on your role and security settings. You can view a worker's tax elections from their Actions button under the Payroll menu. The report name varies by country. For this U.S. worker, you'd select View U.S. Tax Elections. Let's imagine that this worker is on leave. You need to add tax information for her so that it reflects in the pay period. From here, you'd select Add U.S. Tax Elections, which is a two-part task in Workday. You'll enter general information on the first page of the task, like the worker, effective date, and company. The work state and home state derive from the worker's primary home and work addresses. If the company allows multiple work tax jurisdictions, you can include additional states here. You'll add specific tax details on the second page of the task. For this U.S. worker, there are separate tabs for federal, state, and local tax elections, where you can add a row to the appropriate grid and fill in the details. Once entered, you can view an individual's tax data from the Pay profile on the Tax Elections tab. Workers can also view their own tax elections from here or by going to the Pay worklet on their home page. In this session, we've reviewed how Workday handles worker tax elections and learned a few country-specific considerations. We also learned how to add tax elections on behalf of a worker. Thank you for taking the time to learn with Workday.